Hello students. Yesterday we have done the topic of acute leukemia. So today we will do topic of chronic leukemias. इसको जरा short कर देंगे बाकी जो है ना। ये- So first of all, we will classify leukemia. So the main classification of leukemias is we divide leukemias into chronic and so first of all we will divide leukemias. Mainly we divide leukemias into chronic leukemias and acute leukemias. Chronic leukemias, these are further divided into lymphoid and myeloid, and acute leukemias, as I have already told you, we basically divide it into lymphoid and myeloid, and further we classify according to the FAB, that is French America British classification, and we divide lymphoid into L1, L2 and L3. The same, the classification of myeloid is M0 to M7. So today we will do the chronic leukemia. So, and this is the normal process of maturation of all the WBC, how it matures. So first immature cell, that is myeloblast, and the second is promyelocyte, myelocyte, metamyelocyte, and then band form, and then neutrophil. So chronic, सबसे पहले chronic leukemias में we divide it into CML and CLL. So first of all, we will do the CML. CML, that is chronic myelogenous leukemia. This is chronic myelogenous leukemia, myeloid series. It is characterized by an unregulated proliferation of myeloid elements in the bone marrow, liver, and spleen, leading to marked leukocytosis and organomegaly. Organomegaly, we will further read the which organs are increased in size. These are liver and hepatosplenomegaly. Collectively, we call it hepatosplenomegaly. So the incidence of CML is 20% of all leukemias, and it primarily affects adults 25 to 60 years old, with a peak incidence at 40 to 59 years. So, what is the etiology, pathogenesis, and physiology? So, it may occur after anything that can induce chromosomal aberrations, such as ionizing radiation, alkylating agents, and exposure to other biological active chemicals. So, chronic leukemia, this appears to be a clonal hematopoietic stem cell disorder. Basically, in CML, the most important thing to remember is there is 90% of CML, they have a Philadelphia chromosome. So it's a reciprocal translocation between chromosome number 22 and chromosome number 9 by cytogenetic karyotype study. So a BCR-ABL hybrid gene is created as a result of this chromosomal alteration. So the gene product, it has enhanced the tyrosine kinase activity that results in what it will do. It will increase, there will be increased granulocyte colony stimulating factor, and second there will be increased platelet derived growth factors, and there will be suppression of fibrosis in hematopoietic cells. So these are the three things that will be resulted as a in Philadelphia chromosome. So the remaining 5 to 10%, they are positive for the translocation using more sensitive DNA studies, such as the RT-PCR or fluorescent in situ hybridization. So the Philadelphia chromosome, it is found in all hematopoietic cells except T lymphocytes, and some B lymphocytes, they can also have this. So the Philadelphia cells, they have a growth advantage over normal cells. And this is a picture of Philadelphia chromosome. As you can see, there's a Philadelphia. It shows Philadelphia chromosome translocation. You can see there's a chromosome number 9 in long and chromosome number 22. This is chromosome number 9. This is chromosome number 22, and there is translocation of BCR portion of chromosome number 22 and ABL portion of chromosome number 9. So the result that will become, there will be Philadelphia chromosome. The progeny of the original malignant cells, after 2 to 6 years, they eventually replace the normal hematopoietic elements and they become the prominent cells. So by the time the disease becomes clinically evident, and nearly all the myeloid cells in the bone marrow, they are Philadelphia. So as the disease progresses, the Philadelphia cells, they undergo additional chromosomal aberrations and the patients ultimately terminate in a blast crisis. So what's the clinical course of the disease? So basically the clinical course of the disease, we divide it into 3 stages. Number 1 stage is, we call it is asymptomatic and proliferative stage. Asymptomatic and proliferative stage. In this stage, Philadelphia cells, they appear in the bone marrow and the peripheral leukocyte count is normal. Still it is normal. In second stage, what will be? The symptomatic will be symptomatic and chronic stage. It occurs after about 6.3 years. At this stage, the peripheral leukocyte count is increased and immature granulocyte, they will be appear in the peripheral blood. So the hyperproliferation is easily controlled with chemotherapy, but the remission is only temporary and the patients still have Philadelphia cells in the bone marrow. And the third stage is this is called accelerated or acute stage, because this is also called a blast crisis. Blast crisis means there will be more than 30% blast in the bone marrow. So cellular proliferation is uncontrollable and it resembles AML. And the median survival is 10 weeks. So next is, what are the signs and symptoms? Signs and symptoms, you can see there will be malaise, fatigue due to anemia. There will be history of weight loss, fever, sweating, bone aches and fullness in upper abdomen due to expansion of the bone marrow and organomegaly. Organomegaly, there will be basically hepatosplenomegaly. So, and there will be also tendency to bleed, petechiae, chymosis from abnormal platelets. So what are the lab features? Lab features name, you will see there will be leukocytosis, WBC count means will be raised and there will be anemia, hemoglobin level will be decreased. And 3/4 they will have WBC count. I am talking about these leukocytosis. In 3/4 of the patient, they will have WBC count even to the 100 into 10 to the raise 9 per liter. And normal appearing granulocytes at all stages of maturation, they are seen in the peripheral smear. And they are not functionally normal, however, less than 10% they are blast and promyelocytes. And many have a thrombocytosis with variation in shape. Platelet function is frequently abnormal. So low to absent leukocyte alkaline phosphatase, we call it lab scoring. It will be low to absent in CML. So this is a picture of CML. This is a picture of CML. You can see there are some blast and immature white blood cells at different stages. And this is a picture showing the abnormal cells in peripheral blood smear. And these are the abnormal platelets that can be seen in CML in peripheral blood smear. These abnormal platelets, they can't function there normally. And this is a blast transformation. So next is treatment of CML. What is the treatment of CML? Their median survival from the time of diagnosis, it used to be uh, 3 years. So the prognosis is better if the WBC count is lower and the percentage of blast is low. So the prognosis will be better. And next, chemotherapy can be given with a single agent. It has been used, and 75% in the chronic phase of the disease, they go into remission. However, Philadelphia cells, they remain in the bone marrow. So bone marrow transplants during the chronic phase, that is high dose chemo and radiotherapy followed by infusion of normal compatible bone marrow, used to be the best therapy. It should be the ideal therapy for these plants, for these patients. So a new drug, Gleevec, is now available, and it specifically targets this is the medicine that basically it will target the BCR-ABL gene product. So the Philadelphia cells, they are destroyed, while normal cells, they will be unaffected by this drug. So in chronic leukemias, we can see there is also eosinophilic. We included in these chronic leukemia. There is eosinophilic leukemia. It is a distinct entity or a variant of CML. So 70% of eosinophils, they with the WBC count more than 30, and there is a shift to the left. So the prognosis is poor with the median survival of less than 1 year in these patients if there is eosinophilic leukemia. And second, there can be basophilic leukemia. Basophilic leukemia is a distinct entity. So or it can be a variant of CML. So it is extremely rare, but it can occur with 40 to 80% of basophils, and there will be a left shift. Left shift means the cells, they will be in immature form. So the next chronic leukemia, that is CLL, and we call it chronic lymphocytic leukemia. So this is prominently a disease of the elderly. It occurs in old people. So 90%, more than 90%, they are over 50 years, and 2/3 of the patients, they are over 60 years. And the male to female ratio is 2:1. And it is characterized by peripheral and bone marrow lymphocytosis and a survival of a few years to 10 years. And this is a B cell abnormality. The lymphocytes, they appear normal, but they are immunologically incompetent. However, some functionally normal T cells, they remain, and there is a normal T cell pool. So next is, what is the etiology of this CLL? So basically there is a genetic factor. They are important since it runs in families, can also run in families. What will be the clinical course? The phase of the disease varies and is dependent on the rate of accumulation of abnormal lymphocytes. So the median survival is 3 to 4 years, but 10 to 15% cases, they can survive up to the 10 years. And there is no tendency for blast transformation, but complications of advanced disease, they result from progressive accumulation of long-lived and poorly functional lymphocytes. Next is, what are the signs and symptoms? Signs and symptoms, there will be organomegaly. Organomegaly, there can be hepatomegaly, and there can be splenomegaly, or they can also be both, hepatosplenomegaly. And there will be also lymphadenopathy in these patients. So it often discovered accidentally when we order for the complete blood count as a normal routine. And there can be fatigue, and near the end there can be bruising, fever, pallor, and history of weight loss. So the important thing you have to memorize in these chronic leukemias, first of all, you should know the pathogenesis, what are the mutations occurring in CML and CLL both, and what are the clinical features. On the basis of these clinical features, you can identify and you can make a proper diagnosis of this leukemia, either this is acute or chronic. And the second thing, you can be asked in your exam, what are the lab features? What lab features mean, what will the counts in these patients, and what will be the clinical features in these patients. So in lab features, you will see there will be absolute lymphocytosis of 10 to 115 to 10 to 9 per liter. And lymphocytes, they usually appear normal, but they are mildly fragile. And these fragile cells, the important thing you have to remember, and you can also see in the pictures of this, there will be smudge cells. Where you see smudge cells, you will go for the CLL, for the diagnosis of CLL. So basically, what are the smudge cells? These are markedly fragile lymphocytes, and they are seen on the peripheral blood smear. So it is not necessary to do a bone marrow biopsy for diagnosis in these patients. And anemia occurs late in the disease, and it may be due to decreased production secondary to marrow infiltration, hypersplenism, or autoimmune hemolytic anemia. The same thing may occur neutropenia or thrombocytopenia. And hypogammaglobulinemia, as the disease progresses, will be also appear. So this is a picture of CLL, which smudge cells. I will show you where are the smudge cells. Can you see my arrow? The smudge cells, these are the, you can see these are the lymphocytes, but these are the fragile lymphocytes. You can say their shape is not proper, and their shape is distorted due to fragility. So these are the smudge cells. So next is, what is the prognosis of this CLL? So prognosis is related to the extent and distribution of the disease, and also it depends on the stage of the disease. In stage A, lymphocytosis without anemia or thrombocytopenia, and less than 3 areas of lymphoid involvement. It means there can be lymph node, spleen, and liver. In stage B, same as A, but more than 3 areas of lymphoid involvement. And in stage C, what will be? There will be lymphocytosis with anemia, thrombocytopenia, or it can be combined by both anemia and thrombocytopenia. So next is what is the treatment for this CLL? So treatment depends on the staging of the disease. In stage A, if the patient is in stage A, we will observe only. In stage B, with no symptoms, with same as with A, we will just observe the patient. In stage B, if the patient comes in stage B but with the symptoms, then therapeutic intervention can be done to relieve the sign and symptom. And in stage C, we can do the therapeutic intervention to relieve signs and symptoms. So the goal of the therapy is simply to relieve signs and symptoms in these patients. So in chronic leukemias, what will be, you can also do some differential diagnosis. Differential diagnosis means, one thing is definitive diagnosis means you are going to make only one diagnosis, but when you are asked about differential diagnosis, it means you have to tell more than one diagnosis on the basis of the same sign and symptoms, or on the basis of the cell count. Okay, so then you can give the differential diagnosis. In differential diagnosis, must distinguish between CLL and prolymphocytic leukemia, and hairy cell leukemia, large granular lymphocytic leukemia, Sézary syndrome, and there can be circulating lymphoma cells. So these are the differential diagnosis. Differential diagnosis means, first of all, you will write down it can be CLL, okay, and second it can be prolymphocytic leukemia, third it can be hairy cell leukemia, or it can be large granular lymphocytic leukemia, or it can be Sézary syndrome, or it can be circulating lymphoma cells. So what will be in prolymphocytic leukemia? This is an aggressive leukemic disorder of mature B or T cells, and more than 55% of the lymphocytes, they are prolymphocytes, which are large with moderate amount of pale basophilic cytoplasm, and mature, and they have a mature condensed chromatin and a single prominent nucleus. So this is a picture of prolymphocytic leukemia. Okay, next is hairy cell leukemia that we named it in differential diagnosis. We will see what is hairy cell leukemia. This is mainly a disease of elderly men, and the patients present with marked splenomegaly, but not lymphadenopathy. The patient will have splenomegaly, but it does not have lymphadenopathy. But in CLL, you can will be also having a lymphadenopathy. So patients will have fatigue and malaise and pancytopenia, and the peripheral blood smear will show atypical mononuclear lymphocytoid cells with hairy projections on their surfaces. That's why it is named as hairy cell leukemia. So in this leukemia, the bone marrow yields are dry tap because the malignant cells they are oftenly surrounded by fibrosis, and splenectomy and interferon as well as new chemotherapeutic drugs they are successful in promoting the long lasting remissions of these patients. So this is a picture of hairy cell leukemia. As you can see, these cells they are having some hair-like projections on the outer surface, so it is named as hairy cell leukemia. Okay, next here there can be large granular lymphocyte leukemia. In large granular lymphocyte leukemia, what will be? There will be T cell or natural killer cell in origin, and it is characterized by a moderate lymphocytosis composed of cells with abundant pale staining cytoplasm and nuclei with mature clump chromatin. So anemia will be very common in these patients, but neutropenia is rare. So most patients they will survive for more than 10 years. Next is Sézary syndrome. It occurs in patients with cutaneous T-cell lymphoma, and the lymphocytes seen in the peripheral smear they have a very long convoluted nuclear outline and finely distributed chromatin. So this is a picture of peripheral blood smear. It shows a large granular lymphocyte leukemia. This is, as you can see, the cell have a large granules. So this is a picture of Sézary syndrome. And there can also be in the last there can be this, you can also make the differential diagnosis of circulating lymphoma cells. It means the patients with non-Hodgkin lymphoma they may develop peripheral blood involvement. It means they will be just circulating lymphoma cell they are circulating in the peripheral blood. So you will call it circulating lymphoma cells. So thank you students. If you have any query you can ask in WhatsApp group. ठीक है. ये रिकॉर्डिंग साथ में